Thank you for
My guest today is Sulaya Williams, who has been a public school teacher in the Florida public schools for about 15 years, and then an administrator and working in school leadership, particularly working with students with special needs for another 10 years, so 25 years in the public education system. And she just left the school system this past June to really lean into her work in entrepreneurship and building community-based organizations that are having a real positive impact on the lives of families. Sulaya is the founder of Link Up and Build, a nonprofit organization that curates educational field trips, Saturday schools, and interactive experiences that highlight the rich contributions of the African diaspora while building bridges across cultures. And next year, she is expanding Link Up and Build to include Link Up and Build Global Academy, which will be a microschool for middle school and high school students, grades 5 to 12, that will be
having
opening in the 2026-2027 school year and will center around international studies, academic rigor, project-based learning, dual enrollment opportunities beginning in middle school for these microschools. And Soleil's entrepreneurial spirit doesn't stop with education, K-12 education. She's also a doula and is the founder of Strictly Roots Doula Services, bringing a holistic, ancestral approach to birth work, offering prenatal and postnatal support, herbal wellness, postpartum services, and emotional care for mothers and families. Williams, welcome to the Liberated Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Carrie.
It it's so great to have you. I had the honor of meeting you in person at KindCon, the a wonderful gathering of founders that are part of the Launch Your Kind community that microschool founder Iman Aline created, that continues to help people like you launch microschools and similar learning environments. So it was great to hear you speak on a panel there and get to know you a bit more and hear your story. And there's so much I want to talk about. I want to start by just saying that I think it's really fascinating that you kind of blend education and kind of unconventional education approaches with your work as a doula and in birth work. You know, there's often so much overlap there. I obviously was a homeschooling mom and had two home births, and as part of that experience, I think it was through homeschooling and home birthing that I kind of had a different view around family and children and what it means to kind of lean into unconventional approaches. And so it's interesting that you bring that same perspective to the work that you do in birth work and in education. So we'll get into all of that, but let's start, if we could, with why you went into education to begin with. You're a 25-year veteran educator in the public school system. What drew you into education in those early days, and what kept you in the system for so long?
Okay, well, it's funny because I think you and I spoke when we were after I spoke on the panel, and I said I just realized that I'm using my bachelor's degree. I started off at the University of Florida, go Gators, um, with the Bachelor of Science in Family, Youth, and Community Sciences.
Yeah.
So that covers a whole plethora of things, which is what I'm doing right now. Um, so I started with my first job I was a social worker,
Hmm.
and to be honest, it was depressing. It was a burden, like to be a part of the seeing the negative impact of what's happening. So I've always been a person to find when I see a problem, I want to find a solution or I want to be
Mm.
a part of the solution. So it was actually my pastor at the time like suggested, why don't you teach? Like you've been teaching here with the children, like why don't you teach? And I like, okay. So I tried it in Gainesville and I didn't leave teaching until, well, I'm still an educator. Um, I started in Gainesville. I moved back down to Fort Lauderdale, and I've been in the public schools, charter schools, private schools. I taught everything, every grade, and then it was actually the last school I was working at as a fifth grade teacher, I went to sixth grade teacher. That's where I met Iman. Iman and I started at the same school where we opened up in 2014. And Iman was the ESE specialist working with the students with special needs and ESOL and guidance. And she said, hey, I'm going to leave. Like, I'm leaving, I'm starting my thing. At that time, I was also starting Link Up and Build. So we both kind of helped each other, but she actually left and she said, I want you to come into this position. So that's how that happened. So I got into leadership. I got into working with students with special needs, ESOL students, guidance, all of that. And I just been seeing everything, everything from the parent perspective, from the teacher perspective, from the admin perspective. Like, I've been able to see everything and how the systems are working and the systems are not working for our students as a whole, and then also individually.
So, Inaman Aline has been on this podcast a couple of times talking about her work and her founder story. But I'm curious, when you talked with her right around 2016, um, what did you think about her plans to leave the system and launch a microschool and kind of lean into unconventional education? What was your initial reaction to that?
I was excited for her. She was nervous and like I felt it, but I knew it's what she had to do. You know, like we both were feeling the same things, but we were
Mm,
in like different spaces at
yeah.
the time. Um, I was all for it. There was a little bit of nervousness, but she did it. She did it. And like even now, like I'm always telling her, like, I see you, I'm watching you, like I'm so proud of you. You know, like
Yeah.
it was nerve-wracking though.
She's amazing. Yeah, she's terrific. But in terms of sort of this embrace of alternative education or unconventional education, when did that start clicking for you as a possible route forward, ultimately something that you would design your microschool around? I guess what was your entry point into alternative or unconventional education options?
To be honest, I'm always thinking alternatively. Like I'm always
Yeah.
thinking outside the box. Even so I have three children. One is 14, one just turned 13 yesterday, and an 11-year-old. And I used to, from they were babies, like in the womb, out the womb, I was doing Saturday school.
Mm,
I had them doing different projects. We were doing just even like going on field trip, our little field trips. I would always make it into an educational experience. We were always reading. They were learning their sounds, their letters, like from young. So it was always there. Like I knew, like okay, they were in preschool, and then they were in VPK. They were, as they progressed, I knew I had to supplement anyways. Especially when it came to matters of our culture and who we are. My father was a teacher in Jamaica. He taught deaf and mute children. We actually have like a picture of him with Princess Anne at the time, um, like awarding him and congratulating him, honoring him for the work that he was doing. And when he migrated here, like one of the main things, the biggest things, like with my sister and I, like he was big on education. So yes, I was in public school, but he made me do extra. Like, like if we
mhm.
had a book report or something, like I wasn't allowed to just pick any person. Like I was doing book reports on Marcus Garvey, Haile Selassie, Marian Anderson. Like I had to do somebody from our culture, from our rich history, because he understood and knew that we weren't learning it here. So even with that, like I saw and I was teaching my children. So then how Link Up and Build came across, they were, I'm trying to remember, my eldest may have been like 6 or 7. And two of my other friends were sitting on my porch. We're talking and we're always looking for different activities to do on the weekend. And we always had to drive like way to Miami, or it's just not convenient. And we were just kind of like, I don't know who said it, was like, why don't we just we need something for ourselves. And I said, okay. I'm the type of person, I hear something, I say, okay, I got you. So I created Link Up and Build. I put in my lesson plan, like a whole project on, what was it? The children had to pick, each family and the eldest child had to pick an African nation. And they had to do a whole report where the family was involved, which included them bringing a dish to our gathering. They had to do a visual presentation. They had to go up and speak. So that was public speaking. They had to write the report. And Iman was a part of that too. Like, so that's what I was saying. Like in the beginning of each
Yeah.
stages of our thing, we were a part of it, each other's endeavors.
And that was
And
sort of
that's
an enrichment program. Link Up and Build initially was after school, weekends, educational
weekend.
enrichment. Okay.
And after the first one, it was in my apartment. It was my small apartment at the time, and like 30 to 35 people and their children are running around. They were doing the presentations. We were eating because we had like different foods from different countries. And like the families were just like, okay, when we're doing this again. And I was like, I didn't even think for it to be like again. And they're like, yeah, when are we gonna do this? And it just became a discussion. They were like, okay, Sulaya is a principal. This one is gonna do ELA. This one, and I was like, oh, this could be a thing. So
Mm.
we just continued. I kept like writing projects and finding places to go as a group, and it just kept building.
And you created it, established it as a nonprofit
Yes.
organization in 2016, while you were still working in the conventional education system. You also founded your doula services organization. Was that around the same time?
No, the doula services began like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Um, it started with I was pregnant with my daughter, so that was 13 years ago, and and I just mentioned to a friend we were working together in one of the local private schools, which is also a mental health facility, which I see everything. So that's just saying I've
Mhm.
seen everything. Her sister's a doula. Shout out to Kiffin. And I said, I want to do that. Like that's so cool because I want a doula. Like I love the experiences. I want to be there for mothers because I always
Mhm.
have like I just want to be there for women and families. Um, and fast forward like a couple years ago, Broward Healthy Starts did a training, a free training. She called me. She said, "Go ahead and get on it." And then from there, I'd be like, "Okay, this is awesome." So that's how Strictly Roots began.
That's amazing. Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about how you have transitioned Link Up and Build as its nonprofit organization from 2016 to now kind of moving into this microschool space for next year. But first, I want to talk a little bit about what it was like to be an entrepreneur while continuing your day job, right? Like continuing in as an educator, because I think that that's quite common and not a bad place to begin, unless you tell me otherwise. But for especially for teachers kind of in the system now, thinking about at some point taking their own entrepreneurial leaps, what's sort of your reflections on being an entrepreneur, running your own side businesses while still working as a conventional school teacher and administrator?
I didn't really have a choice. Like I said, I have my three kids, so I had to stay within the school system. But
Yeah,
I was like networking. I was getting ideas. I was like, it was giving me, okay, so this is not working for this child, especially this children, my children with special needs. Okay, this is not working. What could work? So it kind of gave me a chance to try different things out, I guess, experiment, bounce ideas off of other
yeah.
educators. So that's what I do. I'm observing the whole time, like, okay, I can add this in, I can add this in. This is what's missing in school. Like, for instance, Link Up and Build, like, we take field trips, and the vision of Link Up and Build is to go international. So that's why the micro school is Link Up and Build Global Academy, because I'm always making links to different countries, especially my home country of Jamaica and Ghana and other places, to allow children to see other cultures, learn about other cultures, travel. A lot of our children down here in Broward County have not even been to the beach or left Broward County. So my goal is to get them out locally to different places, which we've been doing, and then get out of the state of Florida, go international,
Yeah.
like, and that I love traveling. I love learning about different cultures and people, and I love like connecting it for children and people.
Well, and I imagine the fact that you were running a couple of businesses while you were still teaching made it feel a little bit less intimidating to
Yes,
ultimately leave the system and say, all right, I'm going all in on entrepreneurship.
yes, it it did. It's still a little nerve
Yeah,
wracking right now,
of
not
course.
to lie. Yeah, it's still a little like, oh snap, like this is it. It's all on me. And I'm always encouraging, being an assistant principal and principal in the schools, like I'm always encouraging educators and the teachers and the staff, like to try. Like I'm always asking, like even in Link Up and Build, our children, like we promote, like we tell them, make a business plan. What would you think to do? What kind of product, what kind of services? Like we want for them to see their giftings and talents. So it's the same thing I've done to my staff. Even up to a couple of weeks ago, I'm talking to teachers I was working with, and I'm like, hey, these are your strengths. Like you're really good at this. Like go into consulting. Like that's what I'm doing now.
Wow.
Consult, like start something while you're here. Like I'm all about people walking and living in their purpose. And I think that's what we miss. And that's where a lot of the problems come from, because we're not in our purpose. We're not working in our giftings. We're not working in our talents. We're just like, okay, 9 to 5, this is what they said to do. No, I'm that rebel. No, try something else. Be happy. Be full of joy every day you wake up.
And build something, which is really
Yep,
what you're
and people.
encouraging folks to do through entrepreneurship. So why now then for you to take that leap, leaving your job in June of this year to kind of go all in on education entrepreneurship and plan out the launch next fall of Link Up and Build Global Academy? Why was the timing right at this point?
The timing was right because I knew um, I felt that I was not, I was working in the school. I was a doula. I'm working Link Up and Build, and I'm consulting. I'm doing several things on the side. And I realized the need was here. I'm watching my children in the school. I'm watching other children in the school. I was like, the need is here. Like they need an alternative. And that's the beauty of it. There's so many different micro schools. There's so many different options. And mine is different because it adds in what we've been doing with Link Up and Build. And I said, they need it. And I realized I was not giving the time to my businesses. I was giving more of my time and energy to another school, which was not my vision. It was not my vision. I didn't agree with a lot of the things going on. I didn't agree with how the teachers were being treated, the staff. I could not be a part of it anymore. So, it's either you're part of the problem or you're a part of the solution. So I had to choose. I had to be a part of the solution, and I have a solution. So I need to put my all into the solution.
Oh, I love that. So what does the next year look like as you plan for the launch of Link Up and Build Global Academy? Tell us about your vision for the micro school, and what you'll be working on in the coming months to get it going.
Well, what I've been working on is finding locations, speaking with people, letting people know that we're here, setting up the field trip, setting up the links in Jamaica and Ghana to make those our first international links, um, making trips so this year we're still doing Link Up and Build. So Link Up and Build would be more of us going to DC, to the Smithsonian, going to the Gullah Geechee Nation in South Carolina, like making those trips. So that's what it will be about, so it could be incorporated into the global school. I'm also looking for teachers. I have 2 already, and we are excited. They're on board. They love the vision. They've been around. And I'm looking for some more teachers and just people who could be on board in the vision. It's funny because Iman, I follow her and I'm listening to her stuff, and we talk about a lot of, outsourcing and stuff. So I'm looking for my people to delegate certain tasks to get this going, because the vision is there. I have a wonderful board. Now they're like in separate places, but is there. It's been there. Everybody's been asking, when are you going to start? And they've been asking this since we started Link Up and Build in 2016. So,
Wow. Yeah. And now it's the perfect time to create this micro school. So what will the structure be like? I know it'd be middle school and high schoolers, grades 5 through 12. What would a typical week look like, do you think, for next year?
well, a typical week will look like them getting their academics first and foremost, because if we're doing dual enrollment, so we want to make sure that they are ahead of time. Like they're not
And
held back.
tell us what that means and what that will look like.
Okay, so the middle schoolers will be able to take high school courses. The high school students will be able to take their college level courses, and anything that they're on level with. Because you know how like Montessori doesn't go by, okay, this is your age, this is your grade. We do whatever they're able to do, and we push them in that area. So the first half of the day will be academics core, the second half will be more project based, bringing that all in. And like once a week, we're outside, we're taking a trip, we're going somewhere to tie it all in.
I love that. And do you have a sense of how many students you might open with, what your capacity will be? Maybe it will depend on
That's
your location.
that is a big thing. It depends on the location, and part of it too is my youngest son, like he's the one that I've been just watching. Um, and he even said to me recently, because I was like, make you start sixth grade in the public school, or do I put you into this school over here? And we've been talking through it. I've been watching him. I've been trying to figure out, or we've both been trying to figure out like what he's interested in, because the traditional way does not work for him. It doesn't work for a lot of our young boys actually.
Right.
So he was like, Mommy, so why don't you just build a school for me? You're sitting here trying to put me in another school. Why, when is this happening? So that's my push. So I'm always asking him, so what do you like about this? Would you enjoy something like that? Because he represents a lot of the students in school who are getting into trouble or who are bored, or children hate school right now. I didn't grow up hating school. You know what I mean? It's so strange to me. I'm like, but I see why they don't feel comfortable. I see why they're not taking it seriously, because a lot of our teachers are not taking it seriously. They're burnt out. They're burnt out, and there's a lot of unrealistic expectations. So I kind of use my son and use like what's going on in the school to as I'm building.
Yeah, and it's interesting you bring up this point about boys in the conventional system. More and more data show that boys are really being left behind. I think about author Richard Reeves and the research that he's done showing that often boys come into school, into kindergarten already behind girls academically, and emotionally, and that they continue to lag. They're often heavily concentrated at the bottom of the class compared to girls who are more at the top of the class. We know they go to college at lower rates than girls and often drop out of college at higher rates than girls. So what do you think, I guess on that topic, what do you think it is that we could be doing better for our boys?
We need to speak their language, and like they're not going to sit down at a desk for how many hours in the day. As a matter of fact, my same son, Zari, my baby, um, he he was going to a school. Oh, this time I was the assistant principal was talking to me, and I picked him up, and she was like, "Oh, I have to tell Miss Williams this." So I was like, "What happened?" I'm thinking he got in trouble because he'll tell a teacher like, "You don't know what you're talking about," or or he'll get agitated when he's bored. So I was
Right.
like, "Oh gosh, is he in trouble? Like, what happened?" And she said, "No, I was greeting the students coming into the school, and I was telling them, good morning, have a good day, da da da." And she said he looked straight in her face and said, "Why should I have a good day?" So she thought like something was going on, and she was like, "Oh, I gotta call Miss Williams, blah 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 blah." And she asked why, what do you mean? And he said, "Why should it be a good day if I have to go and sit at a desk for 6 hours? Like, what is good about that? I don't want to be sitting at the desk for 6 hours. I'm bored." And she said she had like a, oh my gosh, he's right. But
Yeah.
nothing changed because she's still in the system that's saying this is what it is. Like they take away recess, or they just give it minimal. They don't push the music because he likes music. A lot of these boys need to
Mm,
be pounding on drums or creating things. Like we are not tapping into their intelligence. Like we're not tapping into their talents and their giftings at all. Like sitting down and talking, like girls can sit there and be like, okay, I'm gonna do what I have to do. Boys are not like that. They need to be outside. They need to be exploring. They need to be creative. We're taking away children's creativity. They need all of that. They need to see the sunlight. They need
yeah.
to feel it. They need to have their hands in dirt, building and making sandcastles, or planting food, and then learning about what they're planting. Like boys are not meant to sit down and conform and be little soldiers. That's not what we're creating. So That's where it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I've often found that my two boys learn much better and retain information better when they're moving around, jumping around. And here in conventional classrooms, we're typically forcing all children, boys included, to sort of sit still and pay attention, and that just may not be the way they absorb information in the most effective way. So that it seems like that's part of your why, right? Is to create
Yes.
something for your family. And of course, that's the driver motivator for so many of today's microschool founders, education entrepreneurs, is to solve a problem or create a solution for their own family and bring others along with them. And sure enough, they find that so many others in their community are looking for the same thing. And so why middle school and high school? So many of today's micro schools seem to start in younger grades, kind of K to 5, and you're doing something a bit different with middle school and high school. Why those ages?
Um, because if they've been in the public school from younger, like they're already like done. I want to bring that joy back into learning. I want to like guide them to who they're going to be as adults. Sometimes like middle school is said all across, like educators in middle school like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst time because they are going through changes. Puberty is happening. They're finding themselves. They're having, this is where the identity crisis starts because they don't, especially now with social media, they don't know who they are. They're following this, following that. So I want to give that opportunity and space for them to figure it out in a safe space and give them the tools to be able to figure themselves out. Because when you look at all, I guess if we want to say crime rates or, adults who are, because I'm such an observer. Like I watch adults sometimes like, oh, wow, there's something there, adults are not coping properly. We're not coping okay. The things that are happening in our world, the wars, the arguments, the fights, the road rage, everything like that is just showing us that even global warming, we have not been coping properly. We have not been walking in our purpose, and like it's causing more chaos. Like I don't feel that we're here to be miserable. Like I don't feel so
Right,
from middle school and high school, like that's a good time because they're growing into young adults.
right.
So I want to catch them there. And whatever happened before there, at least I can plant a seed or be that voice, or my staff and I can cultivate that environment for them to be better people, better adults, like
Yeah.
making good decisions, being considerate, being kind, walking into purpose, and like living a life in peace and love and joy. Like there's no reason for them to be miserable like our generation. Like we don't need any more
Right.
miserable human
Yeah.
beings.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So one of the things that Iman emphasizes in her Launch Your Kind community and the work she does is the importance of financial sustainability as founders. That in order, she'll often say, she wants more of these micro schools, more of these innovative learning environments, and we can only have more of that if you're sort of successful in building a sustainable small business. I
Right.
wonder, how you feel that will look with your micro school. How do you ensure financial sustainability and success so that you can make a long-term impact?
I am looking for people to partner with me. There's money out there and people are looking for where to put it. So I'm looking to network, partner with people to sponsor, to donate, to see the vision, to understand why we're doing this, to help us. Because of course, like I even think like, you know, making international trips, that's going to be costly. So I'm looking for people to say, okay, I love what she's doing with Link Up and Build Global Academy. I'm going to donate this amount. I'm going to sponsor this child to go on this trip. I'm going to sponsor this classroom. Like that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm manifesting. I'm putting
Mhm.
it out there because it will happen because it is needed. It is needed. A lot of our schools say, oh, we have these global international business, this and that and whatever, but not every kid is getting that opportunity, and not every child is able to,
Yeah.
so I'm looking for people to partner, and I know they will come. I know that they will.
Yes, right. For the global excursions and some of those really hands-on experiences. In terms of the day-to-day, academic work at at Link Up and Build Global Academy.
Yes.
Um, will students be able to attend through some of Florida's education savings account programs, the scholarship programs that enable them to often attend a
Yes.
microschool tuition free? How will that work?
So even now, Link Up and Build, like students are getting tutoring through it from Step Up and all these. Yeah. So we
Great.
do accept it. Yes. So we will accept that the scholarships from the state.
And will your students be technically homeschoolers, or will you set up your organization or your new academy as a recognized private school, or both? What are you thinking about in terms of structure?
Right now, I'm thinking both
Okay.
because it all depends on the location. So, like I said, I'm looking for a location to do private. I have to have a location that is approved as a private school. So right now it will be both. And we just flow with it. Like that's what I'm working on in the next couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, and why both? I guess what are sort of the advantages of offering your services as both a private school and a homeschool program?
Because some parents want their children to be homeschooled. Like some may not want their students to be in school every day. Like my little one, he doesn't want to be in school in school every day.
Yeah.
Or they may not even be able to afford it because there is funding for homeschool parents and they can do drop-ins and get this class or this course. Um, so giving the option, I think, is best. I think right now we need those options to meet families where they are because we're not in the same situation. So everybody will be able to get an option of how to do it. And they may want to start off at homeschool and then start full-time private. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, just all kinds of flexibility. I think that's what families are really looking for now, that customization in education that they enjoy in other parts of their lives. So as we begin to wrap up, I wonder if you can offer some advice for particularly other teachers like you who may be about to begin a new school year, but they're thinking about at some point becoming an entrepreneur, launching their own educational organization or microschool. What advice do you have for them?
Go for it. And they go for it. Write it out. Make the vision plain. Like write it out. Think about it. Do it while you're working so that you feel comfortable. And I'm here to help. I provide workshops and talks one-on-one through my consulting business, which is Priority Education Solutions. And you could come on over to Link Up and Build. You could do some different activities there. And I'm always, some people say I give too much information, but that's just my nature. We have to share with each other. I want people to be happy. So go for it. Teachers, go for it. You do not have to conform to what they tell you to do. You don't have to clock in at 7:30 and out by 2:30, 3 o'clock and be miserable. If you're miserable, try something new. Tap into your gifts, tap into your dreams that you had when you were a little girl, little boy. Like tap into those things. Don't lose it. If you're inspiring students, you can't inspire students if you're not doing what you want to do. So
Mm.
go.
Great words of wisdom there, Sulaya. So, what is the best way or ways for my listeners and viewers to connect with you, to maybe get some coaching from you on their entrepreneurial journey, or follow your progress as you prepare to launch Link Up and Build Global Academy? What are the best ways for folks to connect with you?
Okay, so right now I'm all on Instagram through link up underscore and build. I'm also on Instagram on Priority Education Solutions. You can call me. My business number is 954-300-1263. And you can email me at sulayawilliams@gmail.com. The website is getting ready to be launched because I'm putting all three things on it. So I want it to be perfect for you guys to be able to see your options. Because I'm all about options. I provide all of it.
That's great. Oh, so wonderful. I am excited about everything you have going on, Sulaya, and especially excited about the launch of the microschool next fall. We'll have to have you back on the show after your launch to share what your early days are like. And in the meantime, thank you so much, Sulaya Williams, for being on the Liberated podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.